Hello, all my fellow riders out there. Straight out of your local sports book, this is the Irish Stallion, Sean Galway here. And even with a broken leg, it doesn't stop me from gambling on myself. I'll be back one day, and that's right. I'm here right now with the Dirty Bird, right here on the Sit Down Marks podcast.
Hey, yo.
If I can be serious for a minute.
Oh, yeah. Acknowledge me.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Come on in. Sit down. Episode number 150 of the Sit Down Marks podcast. I'm with my boy, Sean Galway, today, and this one's called Raising the Stakes, man. Looking forward to this one because this one's all about the in-ring return of the Stallion, man. I am ready to go. So I want to thank everyone watching on YouTube and Facebook right now and everybody listening on Spotify, Apple, and SportzWire Radio. I am DB, the Dirty Bird, host of the Sit Down Marks podcast. Welcome to any new listeners out there, and thanks for listening. So long story short, man, guys, today is a pod that, well, personally, I've been waiting on for a while, but probably not as much as Sean because when Sean and I started this series of pods chronicling his return to the ring, this is one we were looking forward to, man. This one is the last in a four-part series of the rehab, recovery, and journey of my friend, the Irish Stallion, Sean Galway's return back to pro wrestling. So without further ado, the man of the hour, the man of these four pods we've been talking about, the Irish Stallion himself, Sean Galway. What's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
Doing fantastic, Eric. Thank you so much for that big intro, man.
You're good, man. So the first pod we got together was a month after your injury in March of 2024. And then we returned for the summer to see how you was in June of 2024. And then the last time we talked was towards the end of October in 2024. And now it's time to check in one more time. So if you happen to follow along, you may be listening for the first time. Sean broke his his femur in his right leg in a match in February of 2024. And he just had his return match in Freelance Wrestling just over about a week ago. And so, Sean, you've had the time to cool down now, man. It's been a little while, since you had the first match. Let's how you feeling, man? Is it good to get that first one back under your belt?
Oh my God, it felt unbelievable to get the first one back under my belt. These past like 2 weeks, especially, just like kind of like in the days leading up to that like 1 year anniversary mark when I broke my leg on the 23rd of February, and then the 24th I had surgery, and then so my match at Freelance was on February 22nd. It was literally 364 days, ago that I had broken my leg at that point. And so I remember like as I was getting carted out of there in Normal, Illinois at Iron Spirit Pro, I was thinking like, God, I'm going to be out at least a year. And I didn't think it'd be exactly a year. But it was
dude, you nailed it almost. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that too because you got hurt on the 24th of February in 24, and then your return match was the 22nd of February, right, of 25.
It was the 23rd. So I got hurt Saturday night on the 23rd, but then, by the time I was in the hospital and stuff, it was, just after midnight on the 24th. And I had surgery later on that day and stuff at like, the thing is that you remember all these details too, like, as soon as I got to the hospital, they said, like, you can't have any water, you can't have any food, because they were, like, already trying to prep me for surgery and stuff, because they had to have, my bowels completely empty and stuff like that. So I was supposed to have surgery at, like, 8:30 in the morning. Then they pushed it back to, like, 4:30 in the day. So had to wait an extra, like, 8 hours just to get through that fast. And then, came out of surgery like 2 hours later or whatever, 2.5 hours later, and finally was able to start having some water and some food again. But yeah, I mean, like, what a whirlwind experience. What a crazy fast year it's been, So I'm still trying to kind of make sense of it all.
Right. I mean, it feels like we just started talking about having this pod, and doing this thing, you know what I mean? Like, here we are, zip zam, and it's 1 year later, and you're back at it, man. That's how quickly time flies, man. And you think about it too, like when you first got injured, you're looking ahead thinking, man, it's a long road to, back in the ring, and then here we are, right? You know what I mean? It's pretty wild, man. Like it's so since we talked in October, man, you've had your return now, but let's talk about what it was to get to there between the last time we talked in October.
Yeah.
What was the medical progression like, during then? Did you have to get cleared by a doctor? Like how'd that all work, and get rehab and all that stuff?
So it was pretty like hands off and stuff. I mean, like to be honest, I've been kind of waiting to see if like I would get something in the mail from like the surgeon's office saying if I had to come in for like a 1 year checkup or something like that. Cause I kind of thought that they had told me to do that back in, March or whatever, but the only time I went in for a checkup post-op was about 6 weeks after surgery. And they said like, yeah, like your leg's healing up pretty good already. Like you kind of like probably don't need to come back here. And I was like, oh, and I think they may have said something about a 1 year checkup, but I never got anything from them, and no email, nothing, no follow-up. So basically at that point I was kind of just on my own with my physical therapist. And so when we last talked in October, I had just probably maybe 2 weeks prior last checked in with my PT and just kind of told him like, hey, I'm feeling like I'm pretty close to like getting back in the ring now. I feel like my leg is going to hold up okay. And I'm feeling like I'm a lot stronger now than I was a few months ago and stuff. So I kind of just, did a few final little stress tests with him and stuff like that. Showed him how good I was running. That was weight bearing well and stuff like that. I could hold, weight and stuff like that. I could move, without any pain. That was the biggest thing, without moving any discomfort. And he was like, yeah, like you're kind of checking all the boxes here. You've healed up really well and stuff like that. Just keep, managing the workload slowly and, ramp up as you feel the need to and stuff. And that's kind of what I did. So November, that first week of November, which ended up being, coincidentally enough, my 6 year anniversary of when I started training to be a pro wrestler. Wow. I came back like maybe a few days before that date. And then I, just started slow, like doing rolls, hitting the ropes and stuff like that. Nothing crazy. And then, just kind of over the course of the next, few weeks, trying to get, do a little bit more, jump a little bit more, take some bumps, see how it feels. Everything felt great. Nice. A couple times, I'd have to kind of just pump the brakes a little bit, just because like, in conjunction with like doing a lot of like leg workouts and stuff like that. And also trying to wrestle and stuff like that. There'd be a couple times I go to practice and my leg was like really sore. Yeah. But also after like one time I went to practice and I was, my leg had been really sore because I kind of worked it out a little bit too hard the night before doing legs. And wasn't sure. I was like, dang, like I wonder how much I'll be able to do today and stuff. It wasn't so much, the bone itself was sore. It's just the muscle, and like the knee was a little bit buggy and my hip was a little bit buggy. But once I started kind of like doing rolls and hitting the ropes and kind of moving around and stuff, I kind of loosened it up a little bit, and it kind of made me feel a little better actually. So that was kind of interesting. But, I didn't run into too many, hiccups with training and stuff like that. I think the hardest thing has just been kind of rebuilding the endurance of the muscle and then building up my conditioning. So I mean, like going longer and longer in the ring and, kind of trying to keep, build up that endurance again has been kind of like the thing I'm still trying to work on and stuff like that. But I mean, it's come a long way since like when I first started again back in November. I feel like I'm pretty much back to kind of like where I was, about a year ago prior to the injury. Sure.
So tell me about running the ropes the first time. Tell me about, dropping down, taking that bump the first time.
Yeah.
It's all like a little nerve wracking, I'm assuming, probably, right?
Yeah. I'm glad you kind of bring that up because it made me remember just now, like just like I remember driving because we had, there had been I had missed a lot of stuff being gone for so many months. The Freelance Wrestling Academy had moved locations from, the Avondale, Logan Square kind of area in Chicago down to Galway and Galway Lucha Libre, their facility. And so we had kind of just so it was a new location and stuff in Elmswood Park. And, I remember driving there and stuff like that, being a little nervous about trying to find the place and stuff because I had never been there. And then just kind of feeling that those butterflies start to come up again, the anxiety of oh God, and once I got there and I started rolling around and I did, some jumps and started hitting the ropes again. And it felt good, it felt like, it wasn't like I had to reteach myself everything. That's what I kind of thought to myself. I was like, damn, am I going to have to learn how to do a roll again and learn how to, oh yeah, this is how a lockup goes and stuff like that. So I definitely had that anxiety the first practice or two, but I think I kind of quickly subsided.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So my next question is going to be, so after, while that's all going down, how is your mental, holding up? Because, but I guess you kind of answered that with, you're a little nervous, am I going to know how to roll again? And, all that kind of stuff. So, but,
I think a lot of it too was, when I kind of first walked through so when I first went to the first practice, it was kind of on a Friday night and, not the rest of the main gang, so to speak, wasn't really all there. It was just a handful of people and stuff like that. So I was kind of, able to kind of take my time with it and slowly kind of integrate with what I was doing, what I was comfortable with. And then the following Wednesday, I came back and, all of our day one kind of guys and stuff like that were there. And Isaiah Velasquez, my main trainer and stuff like that, he was there. And I think, I had told them, weeks prior, I was like, hey, I'm, going to be coming back any day now and stuff. So when I came through the door, they're all like, oh shit. Are you really back? And I was like, yeah, it's time to start going.
Yeah.
So it was good. It was good to have, everyone be excited for me and welcome me back so strongly and stuff. So I think they were all more worried about me than I was almost because they're like, how's your leg? Sure. How does it feel? And I'd be like, well, I tell them all, how it feels and stuff. So, but everything felt like it was, progressing naturally,
Right. Well, I know from talking to you, through these pods, Sean, that you were worried a lot about the time frame. I could tell. You know what I mean? You were worried about, am I coming back on time? Am I, if I'm taking too long, is it like, oh, look, he's taking too long, or, oh, you know what I mean? So, and like we talked about, you basically nailed it on the year, coming back, so, I could tell that bothered you a little bit. And I could tell that, you really had that on your mind a lot. And you probably really looking at March and February on the calendar of 2025 for quite a while, thinking, that'd be the time to get back. So that you got to feel probably pretty good about that because you kind of made a deadline for yourself, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely did it in my head and stuff like that. So it was, I remember kind of thinking to myself when I was in the hospital that week, I knew no one had told me what the outline was. I kind of just self-imposed it. And I was like, I kind of knew it was because it was going to be 8 to 12 months. And people, when I went to the visit some of my freelance gang in April at their show, people were asking, when do you think you'd be back and stuff? And I was like, well, probably late fall. And I was kind of right about that timing because it was November when I came to start training. And the other thing is I realized pretty quickly that I was not going to be ready for a match by December. I wanted to be, but I knew it wasn't going to work. Not only for the fact that I probably wasn't going to be physically ready, but just timing of bookings and stuff like that. There's less shows in December because of the holidays and stuff like that. So I was kind of already eyeing what January was going to look like and stuff.
So smart take the extra time to heal. And yeah. December is a slow time in indie wrestling, So,
Exactly. So, and then January was just kind of like, they didn't. There was just no good spot to fit anywhere. So,
Sure.
February was going to be the date. So, or it was going to be the time frame. So, it all worked out as it should. So, I mean, I didn't need to rush anything like I thought I did. Just needed to take my time, and that's what I did. And I feel better for doing that because I think the extra time gave me, more chance to prepare and be ready for that moment when it came.
Sure. So, so the family happy for you? Everybody glad you're back? Is someone still on the fence? I remember we talked about this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I definitely got a lot of good luck and, I'm keeping you in my prayers type of messages from like my mom and dad and stuff. And, text me when you're out of the ring and stuff. And they, and my mom straight up said like she wasn't happy that I was coming back. So, which right. I mean, whatever you can't.
Moms are going to tell you,
yeah. I mean, it's not a damper on our relationship or anything like that. If anything, sure. Like the 2 months that I had to spend out of the hospital, living with her again made us closer.
Of course,
and I can just only hope that like she kind of understands why I had to come back. It wasn't just about coming back to, do pro wrestling. It's like, I hope she kind of understands like that I had to do this to move forward. I had to do this to get past this, moment that happened to me in my life and stuff. And I had to, if I ran away from it, if I just kind of said like, I'm not coming back, like I could have done that for sure. It would have been easy, but the more difficult thing definitely was to come back and to, take the risk again, take the gamble again, so to speak, and, obviously the risk still exists. The risks don't go away. Honestly, they go up now because I've, been hurt once before, but, it's a personal, this has all been a big personal journey for me. And it's kind of like been a growth journey for me too. Just about like what I can handle in my life and what I can push through, that nothing's going to like, hold me back and stuff like that. It's a lot. This whole journey was a lot more than just about wrestling, I think, to me.
Yeah. So. Yeah. You've learned a lot about yourself in this last year, probably, what I mean? For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And that's great, man, because, you just, that's the definition of turning negative into a positive, you know what I mean? And, and being able to do those things and talk about those things. So working out, man, any limitations, everything good? Are you feeling like stronger every day, like amping up the weight? Yeah.
I mean, like I'm definitely, before I hurt my leg, I definitely wasn't dedicating enough time, to my leg workouts and stuff like that. And not to say that was the sole reason for like why I broke my leg, but I mean, like, it probably could have helped maybe perhaps, but
sure.
Who's to say, with hindsight, right. But I definitely, now I know, like in order just to, stay strong in the ring and make sure that nothing like that ever happens again. Like I have to be more conscientious and focus on my leg workouts and stuff. I'm not pushing, crazy huge squat weight or anything like that. But I mean, like, I'm definitely dedicating 1 to 2 days a week in the gym now to legs. And there's a lot of like maintenance around my hip that I kind of have to keep up with. It definitely, I don't have like the full range of motion sometimes in my hip. It gets locked up a little bit more than the left side does, but I just got to work through it and stuff like that and kind of make sure that like, I can brace and hold like a big, weight under my my shoulders and stuff like that. I got to be more conscientious about certain, spots I do in matches. Like, and we'll get to it here later on when we get to the scramble. But there's a spot in there where I was kind of like conscientious of that very thing, and I was like, "You move over here. I'm not gonna let this guy land on my bad side." So we'll get to that a little bit later. But I mean, I definitely, I'm gonna be trying to take care of myself and put myself in positions where I cannot get hurt, so. But
Sure.
it definitely hasn't limited me in terms of like in-ring movement or anything like that. So I don't think I've lost anything in my jumping or anything like that. So.
All right, good. All right, so we've rehabbed, we've worked out, we've put the whole year in of getting back together. It's time to wrestle again. It's time to go back to wrestling. It's time to have a match, and then, how does that happen? Freelance Wrestling call you? You call freelance. Obviously, freelance wrestling is, you're a freelance wrestling kid's where you come from.
Yep.
Saturday, February 22nd. If you're watching right now on YouTube and Facebook, I got the graphic pulled up to freelance. So just a couple weeks ago, the show was called Tope Suicida Squad. And boy, what is it ever? I think everybody took that to heart, and but awesome show. Check it out. Before we let you guys know, after we go off here, we're gonna stay on, and we're gonna watch Sean's return match right here and talk about it. And Sean's gonna comment on it and that kind of stuff. So make sure you tune in just for that. It's just for video only. So if you're tuning in right now, listening on Apple and Spotify, all those podcast platforms, listening audio wise, go check it out on Sit Down Mark's YouTube page, episode number 150. So, all right, man. So freelance, it's time to go back. It's time to get back to wrestling. Your return match, Saturday, February 22nd, back at the Logan Square Auditorium. How does it feel when you find out, man, this is going to be the date?
Man, I was very excited. Definitely very nervous too.
Sure.
I think I got told about maybe 3 weeks beforehand.
Okay.
So I was at training, and Isaiah he kind of pulled me aside. He's like, "Hey, have you?" Because we had 2 shows that day. We had a show for our academy students that had a mix of a lot of veterans and a lot of the new students making their wrestling debuts in some cases. And so we had a scramble on that show as well. And Isaiah had said I was initially going to be in that show. And I said, great, awesome, can't wait. And then, later, like maybe a few days later, he texted me back and he's like, have you bought tickets? Have you or your family bought tickets yet for the show? And I was like, no, not yet. I think, my girlfriend was planning on coming and stuff like that. So
sure.
He told me then, like, okay, well, tell them to hold off on buying those tickets yet, because we're going to bump you up to the main show instead. And I was like, oh, okay. It's like, good,
yeah.
good.
Nice. Yeah.
I was definitely very happy about that. Not that I, wouldn't have been appreciative either way. I was excited either way to just be on the show, but definitely, for the main
sure.
card.
I mean, a pre-show match for a return. There's no shame in that. Like it might actually been a good spot, right? But
yeah,
main card is still where you want to be.
For sure. So, then it was just kind of like, I didn't know exactly who was all going to be a part of that match just yet. I know we can show that graphic probably here.
There you go. I'll give it to him right here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, this is quite a lineup here too.
Right.
I was very excited when I got to see like who was all going to be involved in this. So, Lenny Luck, who I've never really worked with too much before, but I've trained with her for years and years.
Sure.
Fantastic wrestler. Darius Luttrell, one of my day one friends, and like he's one of my best friends in this business. Fantastic guy, fantastic wrestler. Nova Mars, who's only making like his debut just like a month prior, and this is only like his 3rd match. Phenomenal potential and stuff like that. So much charisma and natural athletic ability. So he was so much fun to have a chance to work with. And then Darren Corbin, a Midwest veteran someone I've looked up to and respected for so many years, ever since I first started watching Freelance and started training there.
He's getting hot again in Freelance. Like he's got that gimmick, the cock gimmick, the dick. Yeah, man, it's great. It's great. What?
He's the director of Corbin's Knowledge.
Corbin's Knowledge. That's it. That's great, man.
And his conduits. And then Trip Jordy, another guy who I have gotten to know over the last couple of years and stuff like that, is a sweetheart of a guy. So crazy athletic. He's got springs in his legs, and I knew that he was going to be super fun to work with too and stuff like that. I hope I get to do a singles match with him actually one day. So that would be really awesome. But
yeah, you know what was cool to me about this when I saw this? I thought Darius Luttrell, he was at Iron Spirit Pro the night that you got hurt, making his debut there, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets to be in your return match Freelance. I thought that was kind of cool for a little, little link, a little shoot back to the night of your injury. So, but Trip Jordy too. I want to say he's good seller, man. That kid can sell.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Darius. He's my homie. He's my dog. I mean, it was not, the moment was not lost on him either. Like he knew how much the match meant to me, and it meant a lot for me to be able to share it with him too. Because he had come with some of the other guys to the hospital that night and stuff like that. So I mean, he's just he's gold.
Right.
He's gold.
I wanted to say too, just kind of put it out there, like there's a lot of stakes on these scramble matches in Freelance. If you're not up to date on a Freelance product. So these scramble matches that they have, I believe it's the opening match of every show that they have.
Every single one, yes.
If you win 3 in a calendar year, is that correct?
Yes,
you
sir.
You get a shot at any title you want. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
So there's incentive to win these things, and if so that's super cool. So
that's how we got our current world champion Alfonso Gonzalez.
That's right. Yeah, shout out to Alfonso, man.
Oh yeah,
podding with ego.
They're crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So all right, man. So day of show. Let's get to day of show. The nerves, I'm sure, are kicking in. Talk about that day. I'm sure you're elated to just be there, and just leading up to showtime. I'm sure you're the closer the time got, the more nerves kicked in. But just describe that day, man. The return.
Man, I couldn't sleep the night before. That's for sure. I literally could not sleep. I couldn't fall asleep till like 3:30 or 4 in the morning. I had worked out late the night before and stuff like that. But knew I had to get a good night's rest and stuff like that. Didn't want to be, groggy or anything for the match, and didn't want to be forgetting anything. But woke up, had a good breakfast, had a little time before we had to get to the venue and stuff like that. Luckily, the ring was already set up apparently when we got there, so that was fantastic. So
that's always a good sight.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. So I get there and stuff, and felt good about everything. I also it was kind of weird. I looked in my trunk. I pulled out my. I was supposed to have some the gear that I had the night I got hurt. They had to cut it up and they cut my boot and cut my knee pad to get my leg and stuff like that out, and put it on the gurney and stuff, or the stretcher, I should say. And when I left the hospital, they gave me those possessions back, the torn up stuff. And the one boot, they tossed one of the boots out because it was ripped to shreds because they cut it open, and then I just had the other boot there. So I actually had the bag of my stuff from that night still in my trunk, and I didn't realize it. Because I had moved one of my golf clubs to get something else, and I see this is where it was. I must have put it back there last spring or something.
That's great.
So I pulled it out and I tossed it at Logan Square, I tossed it in the trash.
Yeah.
When I got to the building, just to put a bury the memory almost, or bury the thing. So I mean, and I was supposed to have new gear made for the show, but just we didn't have it ready in time and stuff like that. So I just went with my OG pair of tights, and I was still ready to go and stuff like that. But getting up to the show that we had, the Freelance Academy show first, I had to give a massive shout out to all those kids, man. I mean, them and the vets that worked with them on that show, they did a fantastic job, just absolutely outstanding. So they set the bar super, super high. So I was feeling good going into the show and stuff like that. The vibes around the locker room were so good, so high. So everybody was in a great mood. Everyone was excited. Everyone's gear looked fantastic. Everyone went out there and killed it for the crowd. so many fans came out and support. So, I felt the pressure building up for my match, which is going to open up the main show. Just felt ready and stuff like that. Felt we had put together a really fun, exciting match for the scramble. And, I just remember getting to backstage behind the curtain and stuff like that down in the, the gorilla position and just, waiting to hear, sometimes the music is a little bit faint. I have a different theme song at Freelance than I do at Iron Spirit. And, just listening for the first couple of notes, I'm like, damn, there it goes. And I'm like, here we go. It's like, I was visualizing this moment in my head from the moment I was laying on the hospital bed, during that week last year. And it's like, a year goes by so fast and you can't, you play it out a million times in your head of how it's going to go and stuff like that. And I had been visualizing it to be a success and visualizing it to be good and stuff like that. And, nothing's ever going to be perfect, but I mean, as soon as I came out to the curtain and stuff like that, I got a flipping great reaction from the crowd.
Yeah. You were juiced.
I was juiced.
Can't wait to watch that with you later. It's going to be awesome.
I actually have not watched the match back. Actually, just haven't had a chance to. But
this
is my first time watching it back. So
good.
I'm probably going to cringe at some of my
be more organic. So so you're the first match, second out of the curtain. So you told us about the feeling. You see the crowd, you hit the ring. What I'm sure the emotions are pouring in, man. What's that feel like to be back in with the tights on, crowd, reacting to you?
Yeah, I mean, it was probably I've been trying to still kind of wrap my head around it a little bit, but just it was probably the most gratifying moment I think I've ever had in my life. Just because I know I worked so hard to get back, and to feel people didn't forget about me, and people were even if they didn't know, because not every single person knew obviously in that building who I was or what I had been through, but then Kirby on the mic, he had also said he's like, and making his return to Freelance, and it just juiced me up more, and I think that got the crowd even more excited to cheer for me. So I mean, it was just I couldn't have asked for a better moment. I was so grateful for it. So just to have that moment to soak it in and stuff like that. But then once I got in the ring and stuff like that, and I was waiting for everyone else to make their entrance and stuff like that, I was trying to just dial in.
Sure. So you go have the match. We'll talk about more in a little bit when we're watching it. But I mean, you didn't take it easy. You tested yourself. I feel like, and you kind of wanted to see where you were at. It was Tope Suicida Squad. So you did your part of jumping over the ropes and out into a crowd, and I think you caught some people too. So so you did all that, man. You're coming back. What's the feeling after? You got to be pretty elated, right?
I was elated. My first thought as soon as I came back to the curtain was God damn, that was fun. That was so much fun. That was
reminding yourself why you did it. Right?
Exactly. It's I remember it felt a lot the feeling felt very similar to my very first match. I remember feeling so nervous for that first match that I had 6 years ago now at this point. It was a tag match with another guy who I was training with named Diego, and we wrestled Joe Asa and Dion Roosman, and when they were tagging together in AWA and I remember I started the match. I did the opening part, the shine a little bit, and tagged in my partner and stuff like that. And I'd only been in the ring maybe 90 seconds at most. And I was so blown up because I just wasn't breathing in the ring. I didn't take a breath.
Yeah.
And I remember being on the apron being like maybe this isn't for me. Maybe it's
you don't hear them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I got through that match, and 6 years later, get through a broken leg and stuff like that, and come back and feel good. Didn't feel like anything was sore or anything like that.
Good.
I just felt really good coming out of that match, and I just was like, I can't wait for the next one. I was ready to pick apart my performance for sure. Like,
Sure.
definitely wanted to do a couple things a little tighter, a little crisper, but
Yeah.
I was more like obsessed in the days after, like with being like, damn, why wasn't I just perfect here, or whatever. And then I had to kind of take a step back, maybe. And this took me almost like a week to get over this, but like
Sure.
I had to like tell myself like I had to kind of give myself, and people have said this to me, but I had to give myself a little bit of grace here to kind of like accept it for what it was. Thank you, Metal Magic and Mayhem. And accept it for what it was, and just appreciate the fact that I had this long journey. I was able to come back. I had, performance I'm proud of. And people were proud of me. My friends, backstage were all very proud of me. Everybody the whole night was saying, it's so good to have you back, and so happy for you and stuff. So it was a lot to take in, it was all good emotions though, all good emotions. So, I mean, I had to give myself that grace though, a couple of days later, just be like, stop being so hard on myself. So that's just how I get.
Right. I'll remind everybody watching on YouTube and Facebook right now, hang tight. After the podcast closes up here shortly, we're going to go back and watch Sean's first match back with him. And if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or all those podcast platforms, come back and check it out on the @SitDown Marks YouTube channel. All right. So, Sean, we've it's been a year of doing these 4 pods, before we get to that, we got a question from Chubb Phillip here. You want to answer that one? It says, will you be back to Iron Spirit Pro?
Well, of course I'll be back, but I mean, like, when, I don't quite know yet. There's a lot of shows and dates open this year.
Sure.
I've been in contact with Iron Spirit Pro management and stuff like that, but when I'll be back is still kind of like TBD. But there's nothing that's holding me back from coming back there. I absolutely want to be back and will be back at some point. Just, matter of, time and place.
Right. So you're back in the pool. Sean, you want to put your socials out there? Anybody that can follow you, any promoter might be interested in booking the Irish Stallion. You want to put that stuff out there before we move on?
Yes, for sure. And I should have given you like the graphic that I got made up about a month ago. I had a great designer work with me to kind of like come up with a booking graphic of sorts.
Sure.
Had it made like a bet slip and stuff like that. It was really sick. But yeah, if any promoters, anyone, fans out there who want to follow me on Instagram, it's at the Sean Galway, and then Twitter is at Sean_Galway1. And then my booking email is simply bookseangalway@gmail.com. So would love to be a part of anyone's shows this year. I have so many goals this year still that I want to hit. So many new places I want to visit, new wrestlers I want to face off with. And I want to make a lot of money for all my riders out there, of course.
That's right, man. That's right. All right. So yeah, Sean, it's been, a year of us putting all these, these pods together and going through your journey and talking through it, man. Personally, man, I want to thank you, man, for, the courage and the idea. I think I've, brought this up to you, pretty fresh, about, you might have even been out of the hospital yet. I don't know. We were talking about it. And the idea was, still pretty fresh or the injury is still pretty fresh in your brain. You were still, wanting to, jump in and do these pods and talk about it, man. So, me especially, I want to thank you, man. I think you're a genuine, like, great dude. I'm so happy to see you back. I had like the warmest feeling, man, like when I saw you come out at Freelance the other week, for your match back, because, the journey it takes, to get back, man. And I want to thank you because, I hope, maybe somebody down the road one day will, listen to this that maybe goes through an injury or, wrestling or not, and maybe they can be inspired and know that, with just a little faith and a little hard work, and you're going to be back, at it. So, and
100%.
Yeah, so hopefully if nothing else, you can look back on this one day, years down the road, man, and maybe think about the journey when it's way down, in the rear view mirror. Thanks to Jared for timing in. The Stallion's back, Jared. So
this flipping Jared guy, I swear to God.
No, but I know all your family and friends are happy to see you back. Sean, you got some fans from Bangladesh checking in here.
Yeah, the Bangladesh guys. I love them. They're my favorite guys.
The No Show Wrestling Podcast. Shout out to them, man. Thanks everybody for checking out. So, but I personally want to thank to anybody who's been checking in, and following along these 4, pods, that we've put together, and hopefully it's been interesting. And so, I definitely want to thank everybody for checking in. So yeah, sounds like there's parades and people throwing babies in the air now in Bangladesh. Now
wait until we get that Bears parade next year for that.
Sean is back. Yeah. Oh man, good stuff.
DB, I do want to just take a second here before we
absolutely do. Absolutely.
To echo your notes, I also just want to say, thank you first of all to you for coming to me with the idea and stuff like that. I think these podcasts were extremely, therapeutic for me and cathartic for me to do because it helped me. I think I didn't go to therapy or anything like that formal, but
sure.
I think this was kind of like my therapy, to be honest. And it was a good way for me to kind of like talk out my thoughts and feelings about, what I had been thinking and stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
And especially in a wrestling context, which mattered so much to me. So, I appreciate you as well. You're a fantastic friend and, another genuine dude in this business. And I can't thank you enough for, having my back this whole time and, talking to me through this whole year and stuff like that. I've looked forward to all these conversations, and we'll obviously have a lot more down the road and stuff like that. Hopefully these podcasts will be more fun in the future and won't be so sad.
yeah. You're only coming back unless you got gold around your waist. That's the only way I'm bringing you back.
All right.
Way. It's fair. All right.
Fair enough.
Yeah. No, I think I appreciate the words, man. I thank you, man. So that means more than any of those for sure.
And thank you, obviously, to every single person who's checked in on me and listen to these podcasts. Even you listen to one of them, if you listen to all 4, if this is the first one you're checking out, thank you so much for riding with me and sticking with me on this journey and hearing my story out. I'm no one special, but this was a crazy, unique thing that happened to me. And, I just love pro wrestling. I love it so much. And, I think this experience really kind of reinforced why I wrestle and stuff like that, and what matters to me in my life and stuff like that. So thank you all to the listeners and fans out there, whoever, sent a prayer or sent me a message or sent me a card because I got a couple of those. Eternally grateful from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. And God bless to everybody who reached out or thought about me.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, man. We had close to 200 people in the house that night, when you got hurt, man. So a lot of people have always been checking in, asking about you when they see me, that was there that night, people checking in, messages on social media stuff. So, shout out to all those people who've, stayed checking in on Sean and a lot of people I've told is like, hey, we're staying up on what he's doing, check out the pod. So more people have, listened to the pod to see, what's going on with you. So I think that's totally cool. So once again, we're going to watch Sean's first match back here in just a second before we go home. But I want to thank everybody on YouTube and Facebook for checking us out today, and everybody listening on Apple, Spotify, all those podcast platforms out there, SportzWire Radio, sportswireradio.org. Thank you guys for checking us out and listening. So, Sean, we've ended every podcast in a certain way, and I'm not going to break tradition, man. But I do have to change it up a little bit this time because the return has already happened. So,
I know
the Dirty Bird is going to ask you one question, sir, before we go home. Now that you have returned, what are the odds of the Irish Stallion, Sean Galway, putting a little gold around his waist. Or for what I'm really trying to say is turning some of that bet money that you're making in the casino into some gold in the wrestling ring in 2025. What do you say?
Well, I put out a promo earlier this year, kind of laying out on my goals and stuff like that and recapping what happened to me. And at the end of that promo, I kind of said that my main bet that I had for myself this year was to win gold and end the title drought for Sean Galway. And I put the odds at plus 100,000, which is the exact same odds as breaking your femur. So I love those odds for myself. I've always been the one who gets the odds stacked against them. So you know what? It doesn't matter what the odds are. It's a surefire bet. I'm the odds-on favorite on the Irish Stallion, the Moneyline Mustang. Gold will be coming around this waist in 2025.
That's right. Ride or die. Let's fucking go. All right. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out. For Sean, the Irish Stallion, I am the Dirty Bird. We'll see you guys next time around the way. We are Top Guys, and we are out.